The sun was dying slow over the western ridge, bleeding gold and crimson across the sky as the wind whispered through the dry grass. The rancher, Eli Cooper, rode his tired horse down the river trail, a hollow look in his eyes. He wasn't a man who smiled often, not since the fire took his ranch, his cattle, and his wife Clara. Folks said he'd turned to stone since that day. But tonight, he looked like a man burdened by something more than grief, something he couldn't speak of, not even to the wind. As he neared the edge of the river, he heard a faint cry, soft but raw with pain. He stopped, hand resting on the grip of his revolver. "Who's there?" His voice was calm, low, dangerous. Then through the shafts of dying light he saw her, a woman tied between two palm trunks, her skin smeared with dirt and dried blood. Her eyes fluttered open, terrified but not surprised. "Please," she whispered, her voice weak. "Just make it quick." Eli froze. He dismounted, his boots crunching the dry pine beneath him. The sight clawed at something buried deep inside him, humanity maybe, or guilt. Her wrists were bound raw, her dress torn, soaked with mud and blood. "Who did this to you?" he asked, kneeling beside her. She coughed, trembling. "Men, riders from Black Hollow. They thought I knew where their gold was. I didn't, I swear I didn't." Her words came in fragments, every breath a struggle. Eli's jaw tightened. Black Hollow, a name that carried weight even among devils. He'd ridden with them once, back when he was younger, wilder and desperate. He knew what they did to those who crossed them. "They'll be back," she said faintly, "to finish what they started." Her eyes searched his, full of the kind of fear that begged not for rescue, but for release. "Please, if you've got mercy in you, just make it quick." Eli's hand hovered near his gun. The cold metal reflected the flicker of dying sunlight. He'd seen death, dealt it even, but never like this. Never to someone so broken, so alive in her suffering. He clenched his teeth, his heart pounding like the echo of hooves in a canyon. "What's your name?" he asked quietly. "Lena," she breathed. "Lena Mae." He nodded, as if the name itself anchored her to something human again. "I ain't gonna kill you, Lena Mae," he said. "Not if there's a chance you can stand." She laughed weakly, a hollow, bitter sound. "There ain't," she said. "They broke me inside and out. I can't feel my legs." Her tears shone in the fire-colored dusk. "Don't make me suffer more." Eli stood, torn between mercy and vengeance. He looked toward the horizon, where the faint dust trail of horses shimmered. Black Hollow was returning. The devil himself was riding toward them, and Eli had minutes, maybe less. He looked back down at her, at the bruises, the rope burns, the hopelessness, and something inside him shifted. He drew his knife, slicing through the ropes around her wrists and ankles. "You ain't dying here," he said, his voice low and firm. "Not while I still got breath." She tried to protest, but he lifted her gently, wrapping his coat around her torn clothes. "Save your strength," he whispered. He laid her near the tree line and turned toward the river bend, where the riders would appear. The setting sun gleamed off his revolver as he loaded each chamber. 6 bullets, 6 chances at redemption. When the riders came, they laughed at first, thinking him a fool standing alone. But when the first bullet tore through the leader's chest, the laughter turned to screams. Eli moved like a ghost, every shot precise, cold, final. The battle was short but brutal, and when the smoke cleared, the ground was littered with the men who had destroyed Lena's life. He stood bleeding from a gash across his arm, his breath ragged. Behind him, Lena watched through blurred eyes, disbelief flickering into something like peace. He walked back to her slowly, the sun now just a sliver behind the hills. She tried to speak, but no sound came. He knelt beside her, wiping the dirt from her cheek with a trembling hand. "It's done," he said softly. "They can't hurt you anymore." She tried to smile, tears streaking down her face. "You did the unthinkable," she whispered weakly. "You chose mercy." Eli shook his head. "No, ma'am. I chose right." But as her eyes began to close, the truth broke him. She was fading fast. He pressed his hand against her wound, desperate to keep her here in this moment. "Stay with me, Lena Mae," he said, voice cracking. "Please, just a little longer." She smiled faintly, her lips barely moving. You made it quick, she murmured, and then her breath stopped. Eli sat there, silent, as the night swallowed the last of the sun. For a long time he didn't move, just stared at the horizon, the ghosts of his past and present burning together in his mind. When the moon rose, he buried her by the river under the palms, marking the grave with his hat. Then he turned to his horse, blood on his hands, but something new in his heart, a flicker of redemption he hadn't felt in years. As he rode away, the wind carried her last words through the valley, soft, almost like a prayer. And for the first time in forever, Eli Cooper lifted his head to the stars and whispered, "Rest now, Lena Mae. I'll finish what you started." He rode into the dark, a man reborn by the mercy he once thought was weakness. If you felt this story deep in your heart, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Your support helps bring more emotional, powerful Wild West stories like this to life. Hit that bell, like and share, because every story deserves to be told before the sun sets again.